We are. I think we're live. Yeah, we are live now. Probably 7-second head start. What's going on? This is Cheech from Crush This, a Monster Truck Podcast. What's going on, folks? Thank you to High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. Once again, thank you to Joey Sylvester and all what he has done over there with High Octane Coffee. Congratulations to Joey winning the big event over there in Michigan for the Monster Truck Madness show over there in Michigan, winning racing. Congratulations. Big deal is coming about July 28th. So look out. There's going to be a revealing. He posted it on his social media of a new bad habit. So that's going to be pretty cool. Look at this. I'm not going to lie. This is cool. Yeah, buddy. And we're going to have the team on here later on. But once again, I also like to thank J Concepts for what they have done too. Any of the RC stuff from, the brand new Bronco, 89 Ford Bronco body. Just got that. It's on my retro no problem truck from the Snoop Dogg's S10, Silverado, to all the Fords and Chevy stuff products, and also the cool Monster Truck tires too. So once again, guys, go to jconcepts.net for what you guys need. Once again, thank you for all the people that have helped us out here. We'll thank you guys throughout the program. Between the commercials of Back Channel Productions and MTRC, we are going to pause for a moment. This weekend, we lost a really badass person, Chris Darnell, the driver and owner of the Shockwave jet truck. We have dealt with him tons of times with, drag racing at the big events and stuff like that. And he also did a bunch of air shows and stuff for us, and was awesome to be when we did our displays and stuff like that for him. And he also helped out with he's related to the Darnells and Matt Motorsports. They do the big events in Springfield and Wheatland, Missouri, and Miami, Oklahoma, and stuff like that. So we'll pause for that. A lot of people were giving their thanks over the weekend, and kind of a knockout blow during the 4th of July. But once again, what an awesome guy, Chris Darnell. But once again, we have Mr. Boss Gator himself, Austin Tweedy, and now the new driver of the Carolina Crusher, Cameron Tweedy. So they're going to be on here in a second. And Brad's here too. So give some love to Brad. His designs have been showing up. A big thing happened on Friday. We'll talk about that a little bit here. Don't mind his room in the background. Looks like he's a little bit in a straitjacket, but he's not really in a straitjacket. He's all right. So he's not loony. Maybe. But that's Brad for you. But once again, guys, thank you for everything, and thank you for all the people that have helped out with this podcast. We've been going strong since 2015, 14, I can't remember. But once again, we're going to do a little bit of some thank you, and we'll get our guest on here afterwards. So, yeah, so let's do this. Okay, go. Is it working? I don't think it's working. I don't know what's going on here.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome back to a brand new episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast. My name is Brad Shaw. Beside me over on the screen is Mr. Dan Cheech Agosh. And I'm not in a padded cell like Dan was saying, okay?
He is.
I'm in my office on my brand new sim rig. Got a play seat evolution. So I'm not going crazy. Well, I may be going crazy, but not crazy. So, yeah, I'm invisible, as Sean says. So, there. But, thank you to everybody that supports us. Dan mentioned, at the beginning, Joy Sylvester with High Octane Coffee. Can't wait to see what he's teasing. It's going to be awesome, whatever it is. And we got a family.
Speaking about designs, though, before we interrupt you again, you have to talk about Friday. Bart and the Gatekeeper.
Yeah, so
what's going on there?
There's a little something brewing, a little evilness brewing from Bart Mamone of the Gatekeeper and myself. More will be revealed, but guys, this is probably one of the sickest designs that I've ever been able to do. I'm just looking at the bottom there with Austin, messing with his brother there. But no, it's awesome. You guys, I cannot wait to get this thing unveiled. It's insanely sick. Bart came to me with an idea for the new Gatekeeper and kind of let me have free reign of it. And now it'll be unveiled hopefully soon. You guys have kind of seen the logo for it. But yeah, I'm excited and more to come. New Watchmen coming soon and other designs are in the works right now. So I can't wait for everything to be unveiled. But
Austin just came back.
Speaking of Austin, we got a family feud, family battle, whatever you want to call it. The family. If we could only get your guys' other brother on, then we'll have all the Tweedies on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Austin Tweedy, Cameron Tweedy, Triple B Motorsports. How's it going, guys?
Hey, it's going. Just cracking open a cold one right meow. Just poured it in my fancy hotel cup.
There you go.
Harley Jo just got back. She also brought me some big old Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Big ones. Cameron Tweedy, how's it up there in Minnesota?
Oh, it's going good, Just working on some trucks today, getting things ready for this weekend.
Yep. Get it ready
Speaking
for
about the Austin, how is it driving racing a monster truck in someone's backyard?
Well, actually, I didn't get the chance to do that. Casey got to do that. My truck was a display truck for this past weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just
reading questions right now.
What?
Yeah,
I
was looking at the questions too. So let's get into how you guys got involved with Triple B because earlier this year and everything that team just blew up. All of a sudden, found out James Trentina bought out Everett Jasmine's operation with USA One, and then all of a sudden gets possession of Paul Schaefer's business. And I know your dad was starting to drive USA One at some shows. How did you guys get involved? Is it something that was kind of planned from the get-go to get you guys behind the seats? We'll start with Cameron first. How did everything kind of happen to get you behind the wheel of Carolina Crusher?
Well, it all kind of started last fall. I've been in college the past 3 years. And this past winter, James has been after Dad to come drive USA One for a while now. And so while I was home for Christmas break, Dad was like, you asked me and Logan, and he's like, you guys want to go up there and just check the shop out, and see what he has to offer? And we're like, yeah, sure. So we came up here for a visit, and man, it was just blown away with all the history here. And this was before we even got to Paul Schaefer, and it just felt right, And I was kind of on the fence, and Dad and Logan pretty much had their minds made up to come here, and I was like, this is a pretty big opportunity. And I was like, I think I'm going to go for it. So I put school on hold for now, doing some stuff online, and just came in as a crew guy and didn't really think I'd start driving right away this fast. And like you guys said, our team, just blew up really quickly, and I was very fortunate to kind of be in the right spot at the right time.
And then Austin,
How
what
about you there,
'Cause-
Austin?
Oh, sorry, Cheech. There was a bit of lag there.
That's all right. My Frontier's screwing up.
Well, back in it was like last summer, whenever James had bought USA One, we all found out about that. We were trying to get the Throttle Out show started, and somebody, I don't know who it was, had messaged James and was like, "Y'all need to go on the show. You need to talk about it." So that's how James and I had met, was through Throttle Out. Just staying in touch with him. Next thing I know, I'm sitting at one of Cameron's college football games, and he's like, and my dad's like, "Hey, I've been talking to James Trantina all day over here. He wants me to come drive the USA One." And one thing led to another, and next thing you know, he's driving. My brothers are up there, and I mean, come on, I'm down in Texas. I'm doing electric work. We're running the Throttle Out show, but they're having the time of their life. I got to be a part of that. And basically, when they had joined, James and my dad had always said, like, the door's always open. We'll make it work, whatever we got to do. So I left my job as an electrician back in late March and decided it was time. It was time to finally strap in and start racing. So here we are, driving the Boss Gator. Pretty ironic, considering that when Exterminator debuted the new 3D body concept back in 2020, that Harley and I were actually there for that when they pulled the cover off of it, because we were working for Team Top 40. So when you fast forward a couple of years, would have never believed in a million years that would be the first truck, that I would be piloting, on a tour. So pretty cool.
So there's an interesting question here. I always like, you have so many trucks. Does James let you guys, he picked you guys what trucks to drive, or did you guys mainly, we'll start with you, Austin, here. Did you want to drive the Biter, or did you have another idea of another truck to come about? Like, how did that happen?
Actually, you're really asking a controversial question here, and I don't
I already know.
A lot of people don't know this. This is actually the first time this is being said out loud, but originally I wanted to drive barefoot, and my brother beat me to it. So when I found out that was going to be his whip, I was pretty damn jealous. So there is that. Pops was driving USA One, and then right around the time that James was getting the tour scheduled is when the deal came through to purchase Wolf and Gator, and I mean, it was turnkey. It was ready to go. The other trucks they're like, don't get me wrong, like they would be drivable, but they just need a little extra love before they got on the road. So, I mean, I got with the Gator. It took a minute, but the truck really grew on me. And don't get me wrong, like we're working the bugs out of it and whatnot, but I'm starting to get a feel for the truck. And I'm loving the identity now. When we do these shows, man, and we're doing pit party, and like if I win an element or whatever, and see the fans doing the Gator chomp, dude, you have no idea. Seeing all those kids do that, everybody up in the stands, you feel that energy. Everybody's just connecting with you. I'm really enjoying driving the Gator. So no, there really wasn't like a, hey, what truck do you want to drive type of conversation. That never happened. It was more along the lines of the deal came through at the right time. Hey, you're going to be the man for this truck. Cameron, I don't know about you.
As for me, he kind of did ask me what truck I wanted to drive, and I originally said I wanted to drive Captain USA just because, obviously our father invented it to carry on his legacy, and that's still the goal. That's in the future for now, but this came up and they needed a driver for it, and I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's go for it, and here we are.
Well, it's kind of funny how everything works, with your guys' team, because I've talked about it on other podcasts, the rise of the super team. You look at the NHRA, for instance. You look at a team like Don Schumacher Racing back in the day. You look at John Forrest Racing. The super teams and monster trucks. You guys years ago, you just had Ratu Motorsports. Now some of their old trucks are with you guys. Straight Up Racing. It's so cool to see all these legendary names come back to the sport. I know Barefoot and Monster Patrol have been running over the last couple of years, but seeing the red Barefoot, seeing an old school style Monster Patrol that just debuted this past weekend, and possibility of seeing Rampage come back and all these old names. I don't know much about James, but is he an old school fan by heart? Like he loves this. Like I can see he loves the sport, but like the names and stuff. Like are these names that he was pursuing well in advance before anything kind of happened?
See, I think so. I guess I don't know the answer to that completely, but just from the way that he's talked, I mean, Monster Patrol was his favorite truck growing up. So, I mean, anything he could do to get his hands on that piece, I mean, he was going to make it happen. You know, I mean, everything speaks for itself. But the Black and Pink Monster Patrol debuted this past weekend. I mean, it's a hit right now. People are loving it. People are finally getting to see and understand that Casey is no joke behind the wheel either. That girl can wheel the truck. She's great at racing, not afraid of it. And you know, people are also blown away at this Carolina Crusher. I mean, I don't know so much about the goofball and the cowboy hat, but the truck itself back there. But I mean, he's been taking really good care of the truck. Keep pointing over there. I know he's over here. Really good care of the truck. I mean, the truck itself, obviously, that's Darren Minguez's old Nitro Menace, and it got some. I don't know what you're doing there. It got some attention right before we got the truck.
Brady Bunch.
Right before we got the truck, and then Cameron started painting some other stuff, reworking some other things in the truck, and you watch videos of him launching that thing back at Elko this past weekend. I mean, he's not afraid of driving the truck either, and the truck's doing its job. So I'm really excited about those two pieces specifically, both Carolina Crusher and Monster Patrol, what they're capable of.
So, I mean, Cameron, once again, how is it, driving this piece that's right behind you too? I mean, you got kind of a little bit of a different storyboard here, I guess, because Austin, you're kind of, I mean, people want to go turning back page. The Boss Gator truck was pretty popular regionally in Florida back in the early 90s, late 80s. Step side Ford white truck, but you're kind of making your name for yourself. Cameron, on the other hand, you got some big shoes to fill. With like Gary Porter, Gary Wiggins, Tim Tesmer. I mean, Mike Harper. Am I allowed to say that?
No.
Whatever. All these guys and stuff like that. So, for you, Cameron, are you starting to realize that you have this legendary name, but you're still trying to make a name for yourself also?
Yeah, I know it's quite the task. Growing up, obviously, with our dad driving for Paul Schaefer and seeing Carolina Crusher run, and just my whole life watching it. There's some really big shoes to fill, but I'm not trying to focus on that right now. Just trying to get comfortable in the seat, and like you said, make a name for myself, and obviously, I want to make the people before me that drove this legendary name proud, and that's the end goal for sure. But right now, just trying to get comfortable with the truck and see where it goes.
Now, it's a question for Austin. So, coming from a crew guy background, as you are now driving, we'd asked other crew guys that have transitioned over to driving if being a crew guy has helped you understand the truck better as a driver, and how has that transition as a driver been for you?
I'm a lot smoother than what I was expecting, actually. Even just from my very first show and understanding just how the truck was going to land, when to accelerate. One thing that actually did, I'm just being completely honest, one thing that did kick my ass, and a lot of people aren't going to understand this, but it's learning to lead with the rear steer whenever you're turning. There's a lot of people who disagree with that philosophy, but that also depends on the kind of truck you're driving, right? If you're locked all the way around, if you've got an open front end, that also takes into effect. But I will say that obviously having the background of being a crew guy has absolutely helped me a lot. There's been times where I've just, something minor on the truck happens, right? And I know immediately I can hop on the headset, and Harley, my fiance, she's my crew chief currently. I can, talk to her on the headset. Hey, go grab a 9/16. Make sure you got the socket, and the ratchet wrench to go with it. We got to swap out this real quick. And that's already embedded in my brain. So I would say it's definitely the route to go. I know that in the independent world, that obviously goes hand in hand. There's a lot of crew guys at Monster Jam that wish that their drivers were more mechanically inclined and understood, there's something going on with the truck. I don't know what it is. I feel vibration, and they don't know where to start. so they could be in the back missing elements, whereas somebody like John Zimmer, for example, he could hop on his headset, tell his crew guy what size wrenches he's going to need, what fluids he's going to need, where the parts at in the trailer, and they've already shaved off 15 minutes of time rushing around looking for stuff.
So before I ask this question, I have to thank some people, and that's Justin Stories and his book, Making Tracks. Go check a look at that. It's on Facebook. It's a comic book, stuff like that. It's on Amazon.com. $10 a pop. Go take a look. It's a pretty cool monster truck, kid-friendly comic book. So go check that out. Making Tracks by Justin Stories. So now we'll start out with you there, Austin, with my question here. Now, with you guys getting, these trucks, there's a lot of different trucks. Basically, let's just say, Cameron, the truck that's behind you is a Clark setup. Austin, yours is a Pettibone. So, with that going on, are you guys getting the flow of things pretty much of handling different parts and situations now?
Actually, that was a big concern for us, and a lot of the reason that, like, the truck that I'm teamed up with, for example, has a different axle setup than what my truck is. It's a big concern for us. However, we were just able to get a new trailer, got more room for storage, so we can put together a Clark truck and a Pettibone truck in the same trailer. We're changing parts on my truck that will actually be compatible with.
It's a squeeze.
I'm gonna go move. Nobody can hear them right now. But we're doing what we can to make the trucks more compatible with each other. Is all I'm trying to get at.
Gotcha.
If you can hear that, it's Spence with his loud mouth in the background.
No, I can't.
Tell that boy to quit heavy breathing. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Dang it. Go, Brad.
Okay. So, Cameron, how was your first time, behind the wheel? Because, we've asked so many people, like, oh, how is it, everybody has different responses. How was your first experience behind the wheel?
Sorry, my bad.
Ignore Spence. Well, so the first time I ever drove, I actually drove the Boss Gator after our Granite City show here, just to kind of do some test runs, and it's a different experience. I've always been told that it's like you're in charge of your own roller coaster, and it's just like that to a T. It's a very weird feeling. You think you're flying in there when you're really just barely moving, and so I think getting that test run really helped me out a lot. And then going to my first show in Cheyenne, obviously made some rookie mistakes. I think the hardest part about driving, like Austin said, is turning. As silly as it sounds, when you're out there racing, trying to lead with the rear steer, it's very difficult. You have to be, very precise. But I'm starting to pick up on it better this past weekend, and at Elko was a huge confidence booster for me, I think, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable in the truck right now.
And how about you there, Austin? I mean, you have chances, before, and with this truck, it's a lot wider of a truck, so when you first got into it, like you said, it's a turnkey, ready to go. JR and them put that truck together. You just go with it. And like you said, you're leading. The hard part was leading the truck with the rear steer and stuff like that. But visually, too, was that off kilter? Because you have a unique, I guess, 3D gator head as your main body. So how was that, a learning experience driving with that type of body on the truck?
It was a lot to take on at once, if I'm being completely honest. The first truck that I drove was barely tame, a little concrete and cars show. I mean, you can see all day out of things. See, and from where the seat was mounted, anyways, you can see through the floorboard, see out the windshield. No visibility issues there. Where the seat is mounted in this truck, the way the truck's designed, and obviously the body, it's a completely different beast. I know on my first show with it, like Cameron was talking about, I was struggling with the rear steer as well. And I talked to Cameron about this, but my first ever show in the Gator truck. We were doing Chicago style racing. This is my first time doing Chicago style racing, and I could not get turning down. I was all over the place. I was making extremely wide turns, just could not get it figured out. And I was so bummed out. Like I was beating myself up in the cab. I was pissed off. I couldn't get it figured out. And then I come down to do freestyle, and the truck just wasn't turning like I felt like it should. And I got out and was looking at the rear steer, and the rear steer wasn't working the whole time. So I was beating myself up for essentially nothing. And it was something as simple as there was a switch that was shut off somewhere. I didn't know there was a switch for it. It had shut the rear steer off. So in the whole time in the cab, I'm going, man, I suck at this. I'm not cut out to be a driver. I need to go back to wrenching on trucks. And it was that learning curve. It was understanding that, some trucks are wired completely different from the way I've worked on and from the trucks I've worked on in the past. But learning to lead with the rear steer, getting the feel for even drifting a monster truck is something that I'm actually really enjoying right now. I take the time in my freestyle runs. If I'm not hitting a jump, I want to get to that jump as fast as possible, trying to stay in the throttle, learning, the feel for the track as well. Before we go out and even do a show, I like to walk the track, get a feel for the dirt. Is it tacky? Is it ruddy in some spots? We did a show this past weekend where it was a mud show, all first show. And then it didn't rain for the rest of the day. There was a show in the evening and it had dried up. And now the track is really ruddy, extremely tacky. And a truck rolled over later on in the show because of that. So there's a lot to take on all at once. But you just take it, a show at a time. That's all you can do. You want to get more comfortable with the truck, put on the best show as possible. But something that, Cameron and I have talked about is you try to find that fine line. As long as you love the sport and you're progressing to being the best driver you can be, you're trying to find that fine line of pushing the limits of the truck, not crossing over into just being destructive because you want to be a good driver at some point. So I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now is I'm trying to find that fine line and not cross over into that territory of just being a destructive driver.
Now, one cool video footage I seen was a show that you guys did, Triple B did, and the emergence of the West Coast Choppers cadaver truck. Talk about that piece because it's such a unique truck, in my opinion. It was only seen kind of on that show. I think it was Jesse James as a dead man. Talk about, that truck and what possibly may be coming down the line for that truck, because I feel like people probably are kind of like wondering about that piece.
So if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that was TARS 5 before it was Paul's first Monster Patrol. And then obviously we came into Jesse James and then did that TV show, and it's just sat ever since. So, it took us about, a week maybe to get it back running on its feet and then debuting it at that show. Our show was super awesome. I mean, the truck has only been seen once, and actually myself getting to drive it just even onto the track was super awesome. It's such a super cool feeling to see actually sits, but it feels like on the rear axle because it's a front engine truck. So, I mean, we've got some cool stuff planned for it. It's going to be making a debut here again in the next few weeks, but it's going to be a truck we're going to go through and, put some updated parts on it and hopefully put out there full time.
Now, Austin, we got to give some shout-out love to, actually, I could say one of my former co-workers, and you worked with them too on Monster Jam, Mike. I always hung out with him when he was working on stuff for forget his name. Anyway, I'll come back later. In Monster Jam, he started this year driving the Barely Tame truck, and man, it's pretty cool seeing all you guys and Logan doing all this. But how has Mike been, especially now? He's representing the team with the Barely Tame name.
Mike Rowley is extremely crucial in the shop. He does a lot of local shows, obviously, with Barely Tame, but I mean, he's kind of like our go-to guy at the shop, if we're being completely honest. You can always count on him to jump in and help get trucks out the door. He understands them so well. He worked for a long time at Monster Jam, being Barry Masauer's crew chief, and he's, his lifelong journey, his whole dream has been to obviously get behind the wheel. But I know, like, there for a little while, I was struggling with brakes on my truck. I couldn't get it figured out, didn't understand. like I've obviously changed brakes and troubleshooted brakes before, but I don't know. Like, the guy's like the brake whisperer. He gets them, he understands them, and is extremely crucial in the shop. His first show, he went out, did this insane sky wheelie, which had everybody pumped up, and just seeing the way that he is now versus when he was at Monster Jam, it really feels like he can be himself around all of us as well. So we all love us some Mike Rowley, man. I mean,
Oh,
if he's not wrenching himself, all the way through work, he's making up stupid memes about all of us and sending them to us in group chats. And shout out Mike Rowley.
yeah.
And another guy that you guys have been doing some stuff with as part of the team is Josh Baumgartner. And Cameron, you were just with him at Elko Speedway. And if you guys don't know, Josh has the Mechanical Mischief truck. Talk about, talk about him and, because he's driven over the last couple of years. And talk about, how you, Cameron, and him have been getting along and anything that he's taught you about driving.
If I'm being completely honest, I had no idea who Josh Baumgartner was until January of this year when I started working here. And he's had this truck for 3 years now, I guess. And if I'm being completely honest, he's like the smartest person I've ever met in my life. He just knows about everything. And I don't think we would be where we are as a team right now without him. He really is an amazing guy. He's a great shop foreman. He's a great leader for our team. And he's really taken me under his wing. I haven't been around my dad at all since I started racing. And, that's who I would go to teach me about racing. And Josh has been that guy for me and teach me how to hit stuff. And, like this past weekend was all asphalt basically, and just teach me how to maneuver on tracks like that and how to hit jumps. And when I'm with him, I feel much more comfortable. Every race I've done so far has been with him. And like this weekend, I'm going to be with him again. And, big shout out to him for real. Just where we are as a team, we couldn't be here without him.
So now another addition. I forget her name, but she's driving that pink Monster Patrol. What's the story about her? I mean, if anyone can tell, because we're starting to see all these new faces, which is awesome. I'm saying that, yeah. And how is that person also behind the wheel? And it seems like your guys are finding a lot of people with positivity, or you're changing people that may seem like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to do this, I'm going to end it, in the monster truck world. But instead, you kind of turn a new leaf, and like with Mike, now he's the guy I met during Monster Jam, but before all the crazy stuff happened.
I'll try and sum it up for you, Cheech, and I'm getting to Casey in just a second, but I got to tell you about this first. You remember the movie The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler version? He's walking around prison, slowly recruiting people to make a football team, people with different backgrounds, different walks of life. Like, we feel like that's how Triple B is right now. We're picking up people who host podcasts, we're picking up people who drove Bigfoot. Casey is somebody that has a background in both dirt track racing and in rock crawling. She's a fabricator by trade, and look, that girl, she's not, like I said, she's not afraid to send the truck either, but she's extremely good at working on the trucks as well. In a short amount of time, she's actually picked up, obviously, being able to strap in the truck, and when something's wrong, get out by herself, fix it. She's also picked up driving the rig as well in the meantime. But a lot of fans, I think, are going to catch on and hop on the Casey Gromschroeder bandwagon before too much longer. Cameron's worked a little bit with her. Cameron, you can talk about it for just a minute.
I'm on the bandwagon. I think she's awesome overall. I mean, I did my first show with her, and she's been on the road for so long. But yeah, I mean, she's amazing with her fabricating work, and just seeing her first show at Granite City to where she is now, it's amazing. I always say I'm very intimidated by her. Just because, she's a girl, she's out there kicking my ass my first weekend out racing, and I think the sky's the limit for her. I really do.
Now, one guy that recently joined your team, he was out of monster trucks for a while, but Mr. Ride Truck Extraordinaire Austin Spence is kind of reunited with y'all. How's it having? Oh, there he is, right in the chat as I'm talking about him. How is he liking being back in the Monsters? I know he was with NHRA for a little bit with the Colita team, and now he's back driving a ride truck. How is he having working back with you guys?
I mean, for him, it's definitely been a breath of fresh air. Drag racing was a new venture for him, but I mean, his heart's in monster trucks. And I know he and I had long conversations. Once the throttle out show would end, and we'd be just on the air going back and forth of how much we miss monster trucks. How much he missed giving rides, and he's got the opportunity to do that now. It's like he's got a new lease on life. And before too much longer, I know his wife will move up to Minnesota with us as well. But he's loving life, man. He's a ride truck driver for the Carolina Crusher ride truck. That truck obviously goes way back in the day. That's an old school truck. And I know there's more plans for him in the future, and what he's going to be doing for us at Triple B, plans that we can't really talk about right now. But I know he's probably right there in the background blushing right now, listening to us talk about him. So we need to say something to humble him. So Spence, get back to work, go do something around there.
Good job, Brad. The ego's rising. It's like Godzilla in the background.
Hey, gotta show some love to Spence, man.
It's okay, Brad. We forgive you. Anyway, so once again, before I go ahead and ask another question, guys, thank another group, JB Skill Graphics, officially licensed, Bigfoot, Bad Habit, Obsessed, and other monster trucks for your RC body, from a J Concept Snoop Nose to Ford, or you can make them look like exactly like Bigfoot, Bad Habit, or on the trucks that are on their website. Go jbscalegraphics.com and go take a look at that stuff too. Check out their Facebook page too and everything like that. So once again, you guys are growing leaps and bounds, and so I want to go back to that, Austin, because me and you talked a lot, and you were waiting for that perfect time to pull the trigger to do this monster truck deal. You had shots set. You had go to Bigfoot. You had a shot. You were in talks to actually join Hall Brothers Racing if you wanted to. You had so many doors and opportunities that people believed in you to do what you're doing. What finally committed to you to go, I'm going to take the shot for this?
I actually really appreciate that question. And I think a lot of that has to deal with, I didn't want to work somewhere. How can I phrase this the best way? There are places that are obviously already established, places that have already, put their feet in the ground. They've made their impact on the industry. And, this guy, James Trentina, comes up and, he wants to start his own thing. And for me personally, I've always wanted to build my own truck or start my own business. And not that this is necessarily that, that I get to do that here, but I do get to get it on the ground floor and be a part of building something. Obviously that my dad and my brothers are there and my family, that's just the cherry on top. That's not really why I came there. I was able to come here and not really have this list of like do's and don'ts or whatever. It's like, hey, let's build this thing up. Let's create something special here. And I still believe in that. I still believe that we can make something great here. There's teams like you said, Cheech, that had come after me for a long time, even still, getting text messages to go there. But I really believe in what we have going on here. It's more than just, purchasing some old names and some old trucks. There's a lot of stuff in the works for Triple B Motorsports, plans to grow, plans to expand, obviously, in the future. But in the monster truck industry, and Cheech and Bradshaw, this as well, there seems to be this blueprint of how things should work in the monster truck world. And we tend not to follow that, not because we think we're better than that or we're too good for that, but we're just trying to do what fits us best. What's going to work for us right now, and what's going to help us grow in the future. A lot of people look at that and they raise their eyebrow at that. They don't really understand, but it's going to work for us. We all believe in our leader, James Trentina. If it weren't for him taking the risk and making the purchases and bringing us all up here, I mean, these trucks would still be sitting in storage up in Chicago or, close to Chicago, and then sitting in Everett's driveway or his shop or whatever. And we're obviously I think there's going to be some new identities to even come out of our shop as well in the future. So I just wanted to get somewhere where I could get it on the ground floor and help grow something.
That makes total sense. Going somewhere that's already established, there's a way that things have to get done. You guys, like you're saying, you're building up basically from the ground up. Even though you have all these established names, you're building everything from scratch. And with James, people were kind of like, oh, who's this James Trantina guy? But he's done stuff in the sport. He's put on his own shows at ERX Motor Park and done some stuff. And Cameron, just talk on how it is being around James, and how often does he get the chance to drive at some of the shows?
James is a great guy. I mean, his love for the sport is awesome, and I think that's what you really need to really thrive in this business, because he knows what it takes. And we're, like you said, we're starting from the ground up, so we have a year or two growing pains. But like Austin said, I think this we have the recipe for success here. And James wish he could be out there every weekend with us driving, but he's got a family, kids back home here in St. Cloud. So, he tries to drive at the local shows, like his own show, or, back in January, we had a show in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is about 3 hours from here, and he went and drove at that show. So, when he's needed, he'll step in and drive. But as far as, full time, he'll never do that. But, yeah.
So, okay, I gotta go back to some old school here. You guys have, the USA one, original one, and the world champion 88 truck. Is there any plans on taking them to the Hall of Fame, or any old school, or any shows to help people learn about the history of monster trucks?
I don't know how much we can talk about that. I know that the name Hall of Fame gets thrown around quite a bit on a day-to-day basis around the shop. So maybe not. I don't know.
The stomper right there. Man. Brad, you there still?
Yeah. I just got to step away for one, and I just texted you there, Cheech.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I just texted you.
Oh, my bad. Okay, you gotta go. You'll be right back. All right. Well, I'll continue asking questions. Holy cow, the center. But so let's talk about another thing for you, Austin. The first 3 events with your new truck. Man, it seemed like you guys are finding all the little gremlins on that Boss Gator. No matter what, you're finding something. Did you guys work the kinks?
I feel like we have been getting to that, yeah. And I think a lot of the reason for that is, the truck sat for a little while before we got it. And when a truck is not monster trucks, they're crucial. You run them, they're gonna have issues. They sit, they're gonna have issues. So you gotta get through all that, and we did. I feel like now we're actually trying to do some upgrades to the truck. Like, there's some stuff we're working on the truck this week. We're on the road. We're actually hanging out at Kevin King's place. He's been extremely crucial in an upgrade that we're actually going to be doing within the next day or two before our show in Georgia. It's stuff that we're trying to do to keep the truck, we wanted to obviously withstand the beating that the trucks are running at right now. Even 5 years ago, independent shows weren't seeing the extreme air that guys are doing now, the backflips even that are happening at independent shows. And there's things that we want to do to this truck. We believe in the piece enough that we feel like it's time for some upgrades in the drive line, especially. And, like with the shocks, we just went through all the shocks on the truck. There's some other upgrades we have in mind that we want to do. We won't talk about right now, but it was just one of those things. The truck set. And when we were hanging out with the Groths, I guess it maybe wasn't even a month ago, we were hanging out with them. There was a fella out there close to them who had bought a truck, and he was told that the shocks on his truck was brand new. They haven't even been jumped. And it's like, okay, well, how long did they sit before, the time those shocks were rebuilt, the time he purchased the truck, or a year? Like, okay, guess what? You got to go through them again. That's way too long for a truck to sit and not been jumped, or not even the shocks have been gone through. We got to go through them again. And that was one thing that kind of, I don't want to say bit us, but it was one thing that we wrestled with at first, because the truck gets set for a little while, and that's something that you got to go through on the truck. we did. Truck land's completely different now. I mean, it's a completely different piece from the day we picked it up to where it's at right now. And like I said, I've been growing a personal bond with the truck, especially the identity. But if you were to ask me at first, would I rather be driving the Boss Gator or driving the Carolina Crusher or whatever, I would have told you, yeah, I would much rather have Carolina Crusher. But I'm at the point right now where I actually feel so comfortable with the truck that I do not at all want to seem cocky when I say this, but I feel like I can almost just take on anybody in the truck. I feel like I'm that comfortable with it right now.
That's pretty good, And Cameron, your truck, obviously you have a past history with the Nitro Menace, so it kind of a little bit of a different story because, Austin, your truck was sitting around a lot. Yours just came back from the first quarter of Monster Jam. So when you guys look through that truck also with a fine cone, I can't talk today, whatever. A fine tooth comb. There we go. With that also, did you find a little bit of gremlins on that truck too?
I think the hardest part has been trying to keep Austin's gremlins out of this truck. Darren actually went through before we got the truck, went through the cradle on this truck and the Moss Patrol truck, and he did a great job with it. We went through some broken parts my first show, and I think it's just because some of the geometry is off. But I think we got it figured out now. This past weekend, the truck ran great. I mean, compared to the driving Gator for my test run, which the backstory behind that, I didn't have the shocks quite set right on that, but it didn't feel the greatest. And jumping this, and like Logan always said, it was like landing in a pile of marshmallows. I mean, it was awesome. This chassis is 15, 16 years old. It's got some updated parts, but man, this truck, it's awesome. And once I get more comfortable with it, I'm definitely be coming after that Gator truck for sure.
Now, Austin, for you, a lot of people were asking about this weekend at Kevin King's place. You said you were on display there, but how was it being in an atmosphere where there's pretty much an event in someone's backyard?
Actually, this was a great event to be a part of. And I don't know what the plans hold for us come next summer, but this is actually something that I would actually consider maybe taking a week of vacation and coming down here to just help out or be a part of this event. This is something extremely special that Kevin puts on. He really doesn't make any money at this event. It's just enough to keep the event going and get some trucks down here. I mean, the guy's basically thought of everything. It really is his backyard. He's got a really cool place out here, out in the county. And he's got like a guy will bring his own like food truck. They had a burnout competition this past week, and guys brought their hot rods out, had a burnout competition out on the road. Obviously, you had like monster trucks putting on some exhibitions. He's giving rides in his ride truck, the famous ride truck that was in movies, and it was an extremely special event for the 4th of July. I mean, what is more freaking American than monster trucks on the 4th of July?
Beer.
Yeah. Okay.
And hamburgers, hot dogs. Baseball.
That was all involved.
Bald Eagles.
Did you say monster trucks? Monster trucks count too. Who said bald eagle?
I did.
A Canadian.
Yes.
That's like saying let's celebrate Canada Day with a bunch of beavers.
No, we celebrate Canada Day with a bunch of corporate chickens.
Or maple syrup.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's one thing that's really cool to see your guys' team out and about with different promoters. I don't know if you guys have talked about this or not when I was away, but you see the Triple B trucks with Throwdown, with the Renegade Tour, with other promotions. Talk about having all your trucks kind of out and about. Because there's certain trucks that go with certain promoters or whatever. How's it seeing your guys' trucks out and about with all these different promoters and people?
I think for us, it's just cool with the people that we run into. We run into guys who were first-year drivers as well, or people who've been in the business for a long time. I know for my dad and my brother Logan, being able to compete on the Throwdown Tour has been extremely crucial, I think, for Logan developing as a driver. I think his first third down show ever, he made it to the finals in racing against Dirt Crew, which is huge for him. And I know for my dad as well, he's learning a completely different beast from the trucks that he drove at Bigfoot. Now, this is the most modern truck that he's ever drove. For us, we've been doing some smaller shows, but we've got a big show coming up in the next couple of weeks that both Casey and I are really looking forward to. And I guess right now is the time for monster trucks. Cheech and Bradshaw, y'all know this. It's a time that the business itself is growing. There are so many different monster truck promoters right now. It's like, we can say we stick to Monster X or Nitro shows or whatever, but really it's just kind of anybody's ball game. We've got newer promoters on our tour. People, guys have never heard of these promoters before, and they're putting on their first few shows. One promoter that we got to know is that the guys with the Mayhem of Monsters tour that put on a show in both South Carolina and Grand Bay, Alabama, that I was able to be a part of. Great people. I mean, I'm telling you, you're not going to find any better people than those guys right there that put on that tour. And I hope they get the promotion side of things figured out, because the quality that they put into their shows, I mean, they could put Monster Jam to shame with what they have going on. Their track design, the things they have planned for the fans themselves. I mean, they're top notch. They're first class. So being able to go through and just get some different shows, meet some different promoters. This weekend we're doing a show for Jim Morris. I've done one show for him before. Super relaxed individual with the way his shows flow, but the crowd is there and they're very much into it. You go to a sold out Monster Jam show and they're looking for the biggest, baddest, craziest thing. You come to these shows, these fans are just rowdy. They want to see some monster trucks. They want to see some cars being crushed. They want to see some air, and they will let you know when they're excited. And they'll also let you know when they're not impressed either. But that's a different story for another time.
And another event that you guys recently did that I did. Got a text message. Anyway, you guys did the Monsters of Destruction tour in Montana, and I think Bozeman, I believe, Montana. When we were there last year, I gotta tell you the story. We were driving monster trucks in hail. Like we were changing a battery in Kurt's truck, and we're getting pegged in the back by little small ice cubes, and like this is hurts. But the weather in Montana just has its own mind of its own. But I mean, the state itself is really beautiful, and Bozeman's awesome. How was your experience at that event a couple weeks ago in racing your truck in Montana?
And now I don't know, Cheech, if you knew that you were reading my brain, or if you knew that this had happened and you just happened to bring up Bozeman, Montana. But I just made the comment of these fans at these smaller show. They are loud, they're rowdy, they're on their feet. And then if you do something you underperform, they'll let you know about it. So that totally happened at Bozeman, Montana. The very first show out, I made it through racing, and it was a mudfest as well, Cheech. You were there. It was storming its ass off, and the first show there, was another mud show. But the fans did not give a flip, man. They were there to see some monster trucks. They were more than happy to be covered in mud, soaked and drenched in the rain. Well, it come down time for freestyle, and I was the second to last truck out, if I'm not mistaken. And I go out. I already had planned. I'm like, I'm going to come out. I'm just going to whip a donut. First, I'm just whole shot right out of the pits into a donut. I go into a donut, do one revolution. My throttle cable pops off. Okay. I'm moving the pedal to the floor. Nothing. The crowd starts booing. They are booing me, y'all. And Travis Roth comes out. He knows exactly what's wrong. He saw it happen. He just happened to have a zip tie in his hand. Put it back on, zip tied it up. I went back out, did my thing, and then the fans were ecstatic, man. I mean, so these smaller shows, I mean, don't sleep on them. The fans are there for a damn good time. And honestly, just, like I crewed for Monster Jam for a little while. Now being, solely on the independent scene, I'm loving this. I'm loving the energy that you feel from these fans. These kids that come to the shows now, that they can claim, they watch the trucks on TV, but they have a much better time at these independent shows, actually getting to go to the pit parties and get to know the drivers. Whereas, I'm not knocking on Monster Jam or their drivers, obviously not. I love all those guys, but you only get so much when you're there, right? You should only see one side of them. That's just the way things go over there. But when you come to these independent shows, it's as organic as it gets. You get the drivers when they're in a good mood, when they're in a bad mood, when they're wanting to tell you stuff that's going on, going down the road, in the pits. You get to know all of that. The kids love that. The parents appreciate it. And it goes a long ways for our industry, I think.
And Cameron, what about you? How's the reaction at the shows that you've been? Has it kind of been similar to how your brother's been describing it?
I mean, for my first show in Cheyenne, I mean, there was a pretty decent crowd there, and like Austin said, I mean, they were really into it. And then going into this past week in Elko, there was just under 15,000 there, so a huge difference. The standing room only, and then they were loving it. And after my freestyle run, I got on the hood, was the wave of the crowd, and they're just going crazy. It was the coolest experience I've ever had, just to see that. The fans really excited, and the kids in the front row jumping up and down. So I mean, these smaller shows, you can't beat them. You really can't.
So I have an idea, and maybe this be a pretty cool idea for you guys. If you guys raced in, I think, Southern Illinois, have Logan, Cameron, Rodney, and Austin one show. Who would be best Tweedy? Just is the points, like, do the points total like a toughest tour, and do the points leader. I think that would be the best show ever. And make like your guys' own popcorn. So get some Tweedy popcorn.
Call it Tweedy Mania.
I don't know. Tweedy Mania. What do you guys think? Yeah.
We get that a lot, actually. There's a lot of people who just some great people out there you meet. This guy that we raced with last week, and Larry Overman, was just like ecstatic that I'm driving now, because he was like, you were like the last piece of the puzzle, to be driving and be a part of it, and now you're all together on the same team, and he was just kind of just awestruck by it. But I mean, you put all of us together at a show. I mean, geez, that sounds like a great idea and all, but I mean, I'm obviously going to win everything, so you might as well be in second place and third. I mean, so on and so forth.
See, if that show does happen, I think pull your dad out of USA 1, put him back in Captain USA for one night only.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, I would too.
I hope Logan wins every single event, so he has to do interviews. You guys just need to, just take a turn, wash out, wheelies, don't even hit the cars. What happened? I don't know. We're winner, Logan. Got a good interview up there, bud. I love the guy. He's a good guy. Man, it was awesome having you guys on here. Is there want to also give a shout out to your show there, Austin, the Throttle Out show. You guys, I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following for a little bit. Heck, you can ask Brad. I haven't been on my own podcast last
Yeah, he hasn't. And guys, if you want a show that's a little bit different than this one, that's a little bit more trash talk and a little bit more crazy and wild, go check out the Throttle Out show. Those guys are some awesome dudes. Austin, Spence, Coop, Harley. You guys are awesome at what you do. It's cool to have all these shows. There was more back about a year, 2 years ago. There was more of us, but go check the Throttle Out show out, guys. It's a blast every single time I get to tune in. It's hilarity.
And I appreciate that. We're all on a busy tour right now, at least till summer ends, so we don't have the time allotted to be able to do the shows like we would like, obviously. Our merch store is still out there, though, and y'all still can support us by doing that. And when we come back, I think it's late September. We don't have as much going on. We're trying to get a different studio set up. I think everyone will actually love and appreciate. Fun fact, tomorrow night, both Casey, the driver of Monster Patrol, and myself will be on Scott Douglas's show. So y'all be looking forward to tuning in. We got to hang out with him this past weekend, and we'll be hanging out with him again tomorrow night.
Yeah, go check out Scott Douglas.
You guys may have a You guys are telling me that there is going to be a possible way of all three of you in one room.
Yeah. I mean, that's we're going for it. We have an idea. We're hoping the execution is as good as the idea is in our head. So, but yes, that is definitely the plan.
Of course, Cheech, you do that. Of course.
Yeah.
And guys, go check out Scott Douglas on Twitch, Scott Douglas Media. Cheech has been on before. I wasn't able to make that episode when we did the crossover between our two shows, but go check out Scott Douglas. I believe they're doing a show tonight after our show is over. And also go check out Full Boogie Tilt on TikTok. Tyler Reyes, go check him out too.
We have one now.
Yeah, we have a TikTok now.
We have a TikTok now.
Made us a TikTok, so
yeah, I'm still new to it. I've been half of my dinners this weekend have been on TikTok. I've been cooking. I've been, oh, this looks cool. just watching it. I'm like really close to cutting my finger off, but I'm like, okay, but it's on. And so, speaking about this guy's been blowing up my phone. BJ Johnson, you need to get a cooking TikTok. Harley, tell your dad to do that stuff. So, oh man, I miss that guy too. But once again, Cameron, any social media people can follow you at?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I don't have TikTok. I'm not about that life, but I mean, yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I do want to say thank you guys for having us on the show, though. I've been following you guys since 2019. Every time I go home from college from St. Louis, I'd always turn on one of your guys' episodes and listen to you guys. And so for me to be on the show right now with my least favorite sibling is awesome.
See, I can understand. Okay, I can understand the sibling thing. Okay, because I have an older brother. I can totally understand where you're coming from on this, Cameron. Okay, it's that sibling rivalry. Even though like my brother lives 2 provinces away, or a province away, it's still there's that rivalry. That's
oh yeah.
It'll no matter how far, it'll always stay. And Austin, what about you for your social media?
You can follow me at Austin K Tweedy on Instagram. I have Facebook as well. Then obviously the Throttle Out Show on wherever it's at on both Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And as Cameron said, it is actually really cool for us to be on here. Spence and myself, when we worked at Monster Jam, we'd listen to y'all, on our commute to work, and to be on here right now with my least favorite sister is absolutely.
Hey, what are they going to plan on getting behind the wheel? Are they actually thinking about doing that, or they
Cameron, do you know?
Do their own thing?
All I gotta say is who knows what the future has in store.
Never say never, right? Is that the saying goes? Never say never. That'd be
Never
cool.
say never.
Hey, all the wrestlers say that there, Brad. I don't know what they do in Canada.
I'm just messing with you. Come on, bud.
Once again, people, Brad's live in the Crazy Auditorium over there in Toronto, Canada. So he's about to take his medicine and the straight jacket here in a couple seconds. So if anyone wants to stay in live and watch that, or he's at his apartment.
Yep, and you can follow me on social media at The Only Monster Truck Canucker. Check out BradleyShawDesigns.com. Check out Bradley Shaw Designs on social media on Facebook, Instagram. Follow me on Facebook if you want, just Bradley Shaw. And what about you, Cheech? What crazy contraptions have you thought of this week?
Follow me at the onlymonstercanucker.com, CA. Follow me at the Only Monster Canucker on Instagram. Follow me at Oilers haven't won any Stanley Cups lately on Snapchat. Also follow me saying I got the #1 prospect in the nation in an NHL but can't win a Stanley Cup.com. Let's see here. For the last 5 years we were owned by Calgary for .com. Let's see what else. I wish I could play the drums.com. What else, man? You can follow me on all those social medias. Duck Goose, TikTok. Let's see. Oh man, there's a lot of social media groups that you guys can follow me at. So, thanks. Or you can just follow me at Dancing Jagosh on Facebook and Instagram.
There you go.
What a dork. And guys, next week we have Jason Becker from Master of Faster Graphics on. I'm excited for that episode. Get to talk about passion that I love to do graphic design, and I look up to Jason. He is phenomenal at what he does. Get to know a little bit of insight about his history and his creative process.
And also the week after that, we got actually got lucky and found this one. I got hit up for it. Brandon Vincent.
Nice.
So,
There you go. Awesome.
World Finals champion. He will be on the week after that, and then we may do audio or try to do something. But I'm really close to getting Jim Ordecker, the driver of Rolling Thunder. So he says he doesn't do technology very well, but I'll try to sweet talk him and help him out a little bit on that. But we're gonna get some old school monster truck stuff like that too. So I can't wait to see that. But once again, Ed, it's gonna be some pretty fun couple weeks here. So can't wait for that to happen. But guys, I want to say thank you to everyone that helps us out in the podcast, Austin and Cameron. Good luck on what you guys. Hopefully, we'll see you down the road at a monster truck event soon, and catch up in person and all hang out and stuff like that. So I can't wait for that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all for having us on.
Guys, before we go, just make sure you check on your friends and family. Mental health is huge, number one priority, guys. If you're struggling, if you know anybody struggling, please reach out. Your life is worth more than anything else. We don't want to lose you guys. And also, guys, if you are in the Edmonton, Alberta area, July 30th at the Monster Jam show at Commonwealth Stadium, I will be there. If you want to come say hi, I'll be there. It's good. Probably for my very first stadium show.
Jersey.
I am not doing that, Cheech. I do not want to get beat up. Okay. I'm not going to get beat up.
Well, he's getting beat up. He can donate blood.
At least the Stanley Cup champions this year beat us. So there. But guys,
that helps.
Cameron, Austin, again, thank you for coming on. It was awesome having you on, and we got to get your brother on here somehow. We got to compete. We got to complete the Tweedy saga and get your brother on here.
Good luck with that one.
It'll just be like a Ricky Bobby interview. Probably, what do I do with my hands?
No, it'd probably just be him and behind a black screen.
like the anonymous voices, like when they
the voice changer.
The driver of
just superimpose like Fred Schaefer's face on his.
There you go.
Oh right, yeah, with today's technology, you can make his face look like Fred Schaefer, and then
or just print out like just like a picture of Fred's face, just cut eye holes, and there you go.
We're at it again, Brad. We try to end it. We just keep on going.
All right, guys. Again, next week is Jason Becker. The week after that, your reigning, defending World Finals champion for racing, Brandon Vincent of Gravedigger, is going to be on. And then probably by then we'll know if we'll have that audio episode with Jim Oldacre, and we'll keep going on, guys.
He's going on. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I can say if he's not on, we'll get an old school guy on. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it. So guys, always remember. I'm going to do this just because Austin's here. Always. Austin, say your tagline, then I'll say mine. I'll let you do it.
Remember, when in doubt, throttle out.
Hey, and always keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.
Am I supposed to end this? Okay, here we go.